Hi everyone, hope you all are doing great. We all live in an age of technology where we can have access to all type of news that is happening in the world with just a click of the fingertip, either in the laptop or even in the smartphone, irrespective of time and place. Though this instant access has lot of immediate benefits, there are times when we do view certain news which are quite disturbing to us. Maybe it is a horrific video or an audio clip or sometimes even a graphic image of maybe a domestic violence or a natural disaster, sometimes even the live murder of another fellow being, cruelty done to another human being or even to animals, mass shooting, terrorist attack, and very often viewing a person who is suffering and trying to cope with a very rare and a very difficult illness. So when we start to continuously view such horrifying news, it can upset us because it affects our brain very badly and it can lead to poor mental health. So that disturbing experience or the traumatizing experience, what we feel is called as vicarious trauma. Now this is not going to stop here. It will only increase in the future because with the advancement in technology we can find people even streaming on live videos of such horror or such violent news in Facebook or in any other social media. So it is very essential that we should learn how to take care of ourselves to protect us from such vicarious trauma. For which first we have to know what is a vicarious trauma, who are more vulnerable to such vicarious trauma, and what are the signs and symptoms of experiencing a vicarious trauma, which is the content of today's video. I am doing this video based on the request of one of my friend who asked how to overcome this vicarious trauma. As we all know, within the past few days, there were a lot of horrifying news which was reported both nationally and internationally that shook the world. So why wait? Let's get started. In relation to mental health, there are two types of trauma, direct and indirect. Direct trauma is when an individual is personally encountering a traumatic situation, maybe an abuse or witnessing a crime. Indirect trauma is the vicarious trauma. It is otherwise called as secondary traumatic stress. This occurs by having a second-hand information about a traumatic experience. Maybe it is a horrifying or a violent video clip or a graphic image or an audio clip or even listening to a violent news that is being narrated by another individual. None of us are immune to vicarious trauma. But there are certain people who are highly vulnerable to end up with vicarious trauma. They are, number one, individuals who have a history of trauma or who have been a victim of a particular traumatic episode, maybe example an abuse. Number two, people who are currently experiencing a difficult situation, maybe in their personal or in their family life. Number three, people with limited support system or people with no support system. In a direct trauma, a person is highly aware that he or she is having a disturbing experience because that person is actually involved in it. But in a vicarious trauma, it is a hidden type of trauma or it is a subtle type of trauma because the individual itself is not aware that he or she is having a traumatic experience by having an exposure to this second-hand information. Number one. Physical or physiological symptoms. People with vicarious trauma have a higher level of exhaustion or tiredness. They'll have difficulty in sleeping. They'll experience headache. Sometimes they even show altered eating habits. That is, they have loss of appetite. They may end up with gastritis or gastric ulcers. Some of them experience high heart palpitations and sometimes even breathing difficulty. Number two, emotional symptoms. They have higher level of anxiety, sometimes a higher level of sadness or depression. They feel hopeless about the situation and also about even the whole world. They become highly irritable and angry for even a very trivial reason. And they may fear that such events can happen to them in their life. Sometimes these people, they have a desire to take revenge against the person who committed that violent attack or that crime, what they have seen in the video. Number 3. Behavioral symptoms. This might include social isolation, and they may start even to engage in certain risky behaviors like consuming alcohol or even a substance consumption. Number 4. Cognitive symptoms. People find it difficult to remember certain important things in their everyday life. They may have difficulty in concentration. Some people, they report that they are over obsessed with the thoughts of that particular violent or the horrifying content what they have seen in the social media. Number 5. Spiritual symptoms. They may start to lose faith in God. They may start to lose hope in life. They may even start to doubt the real purpose of life. So they may get disconnected with others and even the world. If vicarious trauma is not handled effectively, it may lead to a person's low self-esteem. Also, a person may become emotionally numb to any sort of incidents that is happening around him or her. These persons may engage in continuous watching and re-watching of the traumatic video even after the message has been absorbed. So this can end up with a disorder called as post-traumatic stress disorder. We all are aware that in our smartphones, if we watch a video completely, later on you will find that updates related to that particular video is going to come into your smartphone. So this person will start engaging in reading all the minute details related to that particular traumatic episode, and thus this person can relive the trauma, ending up with post-traumatic stress disorder. So I would like to conclude by telling vicarious trauma has to be handled effectively. If not, it will consume our peace of mind and it will affect our mental health in a long run. So in my next video, I'll be sharing the various strategies that we can use to overcome this vicarious trauma. So thanks a lot for watching my video.